So let me take a moment to introduce Charles Jennings. We had broke bread together and we drank a lot of wine together, so we are now good buddies.
Yeah.
And I was really intrigued because of his tremendous background in the whole IT industry and his understanding of artificial intelligence, which we're going to work on today. So Charles, why don't you spend a couple of minutes introducing yourself to the audience and so they get to know you?
Sure, Mark. Basically, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since 1970 when I had my last full-time job, at least for a company that I didn't create myself. And for the last 35 years, I've been working in high tech as founder and CEO of a number of companies. In the past 3 years, I've been CEO of a company called NeuralEye, which is an AI company focused on computer vision. Along the way, I've done a fair amount of writing, written several books, done a lot of speaking, largely about the future of technology at various points in time along the way. So I've been a student of disruptive technology and a practitioner of it virtually all my life.
So after the fourth glass of wine, we got deeply into a conversation about artificial intelligence. And a lot of questions came up, and I invited you to, because I think it's something that's going to impact dentistry in a way that they have not thought of before. That you're saying that one could see there are now new packages, software packages and equipment where people can self-diagnose their dental disease. And then there's also the whole thing about big data that's beginning to accumulate. So, and there are now software packages that are now appearing in which you put in your diagnostic data, and out comes a diagnosis and a treatment plan based on the available evidence that's in the literature. So they have it in cancer at A.D. Anderson, they have it at the Cleveland Clinic under Hard, and now it's going to start to emerge. But I think people don't really understand artificial intelligence. And so, Charles, what is artificial intelligence or AI? And can you give the audience a basic understanding of it?
What is it? Here's the definition I like for AI. Machine systems that can respond to their environment in smart, effective ways. It's not R2-D2 or the Terminator or some other anthropomorphized creature, at least not today, and nor anytime soon. But I think the best way to think about AI is it's a new digital ingredient that you can be found in just about everything. In planes, trains, and automobiles, guns, guards, and gates, compute clouds, robots, sensors, health clinics around the world, the phone in your pocket. It's ubiquitous. And why? Particularly because in the last 3 years, AI has become a powerful tool, a hammer that can pound down specific problem nails automatically and very efficiently. And by the way, speaking of dentistry, I just saw that the world's first AI toothbrush was announced in the last few months. I took a look at it. I mean, it's an interesting concept. It provides a lot of feedback about how much brushing you should do, and are you getting a complete, brushing of all your teeth. It reminds you of need for checkups and conveys and collects data about your mouth and teeth that is then fed back to your dentist. I'm not sure I agree it's AI, but it's really close, and I'm certain that you're going to see true AI self-care tools for dentistry and all forms of health.
I agree. I think it will also have self-diagnosis, and therefore they'll be able to bypass or disintermediate the dentist diagnostic procedure because they're going to go right to the evidence that's on the web. And so it's going to be radical changes.
The AI disruption is not something out in the future. It's happening today. The first robotic surgery on a pig's bowel was performed recently in Washington, D.C. 100% automated surgery. So, and it was, according to the people at the clinic where it was performed, that the results were better than would have been expected with a human surgeon. So it's already the disruption is underway, but it's still very early. The biggest impacts in terms of labor force will come when white-collar professionals suddenly have their jobs at risk. Then they have machines, at least in the first stage, machines will be their co-workers. And we can expect this wave to hit lawyers, bankers, stockbrokers, insurance agents, and yes, even doctors and dentists.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, interestingly, I sent out a blog. I have a blog that goes out twice a week, and I put this out that the future is definitely AI and robotics. And the response I got was heated. It was emotional. It was, they'll never do the job that we can do. I don't think that people, my view is, how do I have people be open to what's occurring as opposed to resist what's going to occur, so that they can be if I resist something, I don't want to hear it. If I'm open to it, I am engaged with it, I can learn and be prepared to deal with it. So what my challenge is how do I get my community, my market, to be ready to watch this video, for example, and go, oh, how do I stay current with this, and how do I prepare myself for this future? That's the real question for me.
It's not all bad news for dentists, but it really pays to be informed.
So my capacity to intuit, to have emotional, empathetic capacities depends on what's going on inside of me, more so than people understand. I know that the job of self-differentiation, self-awareness, self-actualization, self-recognition, self-discovery about this piece allows me to have much greater capacity in the relationship with other people, the empathetic listening, the capacity to hear what's going on for them, to stand in their shoes.
Yeah.
My challenge is to have the healthcare professionals, particularly in the dental arena, understand that aspect, that the more developed they are as themselves, the more they understand themselves, the more they can understand others. It's not a technical skill anymore, because that's going to be taken over by what we've talked about.
Couldn't agree more. And one suggestion I make in that regard to them is that they should read your book Source, which I've been reading and really enjoying lately. So,
very good. I appreciate it.
So there are some strategies that healthcare workers and professionals can take, I believe, to ride this wave and to become, to adapt and be survivors rather than roadkill. And the first is to cultivate emotional IQ. The rational IQ, the problem-solving portion of AI is going to get very, very good, but it'll be a long time before a computer has the empathy, the insight, the intuition about people that a human has, particularly a trained healthcare professional. So that becomes the key skill, and the differentiator, the competitive advantage in the marketplace.
Using your Imagineering, and how do you see this being applied in healthcare that will impact and change the way healthcare is delivered, and cost-wise? I mean, when I look, where the cost is in healthcare is in the people who manage and deliver care.
Right.
If you reduce that significantly and have more accurate diagnosis, more treatment plans based on the evidence and with the learning and the rapid learning that can happen from people, because everything's in the cloud now, and they'll figure out how to crawl through that and get the data.
Yeah.
That's absolutely clear. So what do you see happening in healthcare? And if you could apply that to dentistry, since we all see a dentist,
yeah,
that would be great.
Okay. So first, I think that something you alluded to earlier is very important, and that is that the self-care tools across the board for the consumers of healthcare will get increasingly sophisticated and increasingly less expensive, kind of following the Moore's law that, in technology, devices get about twice as good and cost half as much every 18 months. So patients will do more and more on their own. So the demand for the services of the trained professional, while not going away, is reduced. So that has an impact. You mentioned diagnostic systems. Those are in place today, and I think as the world of healthcare and healthcare research and drug prescription and various forms of advances in treatment itself, as those continue, AI will play an increasingly important role, and in fact will be an invaluable aid to all healthcare professionals. I see smart computer vision available beside every dental chair, and there are some things that machines can do today that human vision just can't do.
Charles, dinner's on me next time. You can bring the wine. I could speak to you for hours, but I think we've really gotten the point across about the future is AI and the impact it's going to have on our culture, our relationships, our jobs, the way we think about the world, the way we think about ourselves, in fact. I just want to thank you for your time. Spending time with you is always enjoyable for me.